Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices, and you can sign up for product alerts. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. We're back with another video with my friend Greg Dixon.
Thanks again for having me.
He's here to do a better job of debunking my list. He did a great job last time. It's just, you know, my list only got debunked a couple of times. And in fairness to him, this whole debunking thing was my idea.
Yes, it was.
I had a feeling he was gonna, there'll probably be many that he'll debunk, I'm sure, over the course.
It's your list.
Yep. If you haven't already seen my 80 to 71 list, you can go back to the previous video, which I'll put a little description link in there, and you can click that and you can go watch that, because in that video, I give you quick explanations of how the games work. We're not gonna talk a lot about mechanisms and how the games work here. We're more gonna talk about our experiences and what we think about the games. So if you wanna learn a little bit more about those, watch the previous video that came out just a few days ago, and that will help you get there. So without further ado, let's get started debunking 80 to 71. All right, now before we get to number 80, first we've got a little game to play here. Greg, I've asked him to guess what my top 10 games are gonna be. And if they come out early, we're going to kind of talk. If one does come out early, you'll mention it and we'll kind of talk about it. But Greg does know me very well, and I'm gonna guess at least 8 of those are gonna be on the top 10, and the other 2 are probably gonna be in the top 20. So it might be anticlimactic, but just in case we have something that he's really, whoa, I didn't know it was gonna be this high, or I didn't know this was gonna be that low. I thought it'd be kind of fun. I don't know what's in that envelope. He doesn't know what my top 100 list is. So
I'll be shocked if these aren't all at least in your top 20.
So
I'll put this aside.
No, you put it right here. I don't want you touching that thing.
We're not going to need it for this video, I don't think.
Yes. Okay, so number 80. This is a game that I thought was going to win, or at least be nominated for the Spiel des Jahres last year. It is a set collection game about vegetables.
Oh, is that the... Oh, Point Salad.
Of course.
Oh, for a second I was thinking of a different one.
By the way, folks, if you haven't yet watched the video before this that I told you about, and you don't know what I'm picking, try to play along with us and try to guess the games if you can. So, Point Salad. You love this one, right?
I do love this one, yes.
And
I understand why it's in your top 100. For me, for some reason, I think of it in the same category as Just One. As far as like the people you could play it with, obviously it's competitive versus cooperative. But I feel like they come out in similar situations.
Yeah.
Like that sort of gateway experience you're looking for. You're looking just to introduce gaming maybe to non-gamers. Of the 2, and I think Just One will be higher, but you know, poker face, don't say anything. Of the 2, I think I like Just One more. But it's weird to even compare the 2 because they are totally different style games. But yeah, I love Point Salad. Point Salad is one of those games that I haven't played in a little while now. But when we first got it, we just played it and played it and played it and played it and played it.
Yeah, I played the crap out of it when it first came too.
I played it so much.
And if I hadn't played it probably 50 or so times already, it probably would be much higher on this list.
Yeah.
I'm like a little bit over it, but I still love it.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, but I still love it because, again, every game still does feel different. Yeah. And in the last videos we talked about how I like mean games. This game is pretty mean, especially if you're playing 2 players.
Yeah.
Like you can it's a knife fight.
I kind of like Invested too.
Maybe
I do that says something about me.
I do too. I mentioned in the previous video that like I probably wouldn't play this for more than 4.
Yeah.
Because you get too excited about the cards that come up, and then by the time it's your turn, they're not there. You kind of have to like put blinders on. It's like I won't look until this player before me's turn.
I feel like this one is dropping off for me.
Yeah.
I'll always enjoy it. I'll always recommend it. I think it's a good game. But I do think I almost played it a little too much.
Yeah, me too.
And I wonder if you were to do this again next year, if it would drop completely off.
Yeah, the thing...
I think it's on the decline.
What keeps it here is that it's great with people that don't play hobby games.
Right.
But gamers like it too.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of games that do that, although a lot of the games that do that are going to be on my list because that's my sweet spot.
It is.
I like being able to introduce people to the hobby, but I also like games that we find interesting as well.
And it plays a pretty wide range of player counts, which is nice too. Like you said, you can play it with 2, or you can play it with up to 6, I think.
Yeah.
So that's nice as well.
You can play with 6. It's not great, but I'd not like not play it. There's some games you're like, I'd never play with Power Grid. Never playing that with 6, right? This, I'd play it with 6, but it's better with more.
Yeah, yeah.
So there you go. All right.
Point Salad, I'm not surprised.
All right. This next one is a small little card game that's quite clever. And this is going to be like a little bit of a personal thing that you're going to probably guess.
Okay.
You and I were introduced to this game many years ago at BGG-Con by the one, the only Mr. Rodney Smith from Watch It Played.
Red 7. Even before you said Rodney Smith, I knew it was Red 7.
Red 7. You can see how long we've been gaming together.
Yeah. It's funny because this is, what year is this?
2014, I want to say. Probably right around there.
I still think of it as like a newer game, but
Yes.
it's been around a while now. And I think it's probably a lot of people got in the hobby and never heard of it.
You still like this one, right?
I love this one. And the little trick with this one, or the gimmick with this one is, if you're not winning on your turn, you're out.
Yeah.
So every turn you have to figure out some way to be winning that time.
Yeah, and it fits in your pocket. Like as Rodney was walking around his back pocket, he'd pull it out. And
he was so excited about it.
He was, and it is, and I can see why.
Yeah.
Because it was so fresh. But the cool thing about this is, again, you play this with people and you teach it, and you can teach this to someone that's played nothing but Uno. And it does take a game or two or a hand or two for someone who hasn't played it to wrap their heads around, hey, I gotta be winning? I don't get this.
Yeah.
But then once it clicks, they love it. And again, another game that is great with non-gamers, and we love it too.
Well, I think for gamers, you can plan a few turns out.
Yes.
So you can be playing and really thinking, okay, I need to change the rule in order to set myself up for these cards. And then once I kind of exhaust those, then I can switch to this. Of course, that gets thwarted by other players, but you can look ahead. You can plan several turns ahead. Or if you're the first time playing, or you're new to gaming, or you're new to this game, you can just be like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to take it as it comes and do the best I can and figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why it does appeal to kind of everyone. This is one I taught to my parents, actually.
Yeah.
And they played a whole bunch. We got them a copy. And so, yeah, I love that gimmick. I love that idea of like, if you're not winning, you need to change the rules so you are, or you need to figure out a way to win based off of the rules the way they are, as they lay that, in that turn.
And this is one of those few games where like the base game I don't like nearly as much. There's a couple of advanced rules. One of them is if you play a card and the number is bigger than the number of cards you have, you get to draw a card.
Yeah, I think I always play with that.
And that one's great, but then they have advanced rules, which some cards have special abilities, and I hated that. So like the middle of the road, if you're going to get this one
I think
out.
I landed in the same spot. You have to have that mechanic to how you can get more cards, I feel like.
Are you surprised that something this light is coming up there?
No, because this is light, but it's also like innovative.
Yeah.
It still stands out as innovative, I feel like today, even though it's 6 or 7 years old. So that one doesn't surprise me at all. Well, there's probably even lighter stuff than this on my list. I mean, I like all games. Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of lighter stuff than most gamers' top 100 lists. And I don't care if someone watches the video and goes, wow, he really just likes light games. Well, we did Pulsar 2849, so not necessarily. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I think you like games, and I don't want to speak for you, but I think you like games that are either innovative, in some way, they do something you haven't really seen before, or they do something you've seen before in a cool, fresh new way, or games that just provide memories and experiences, right?
Yes, and this one falls into another category, which is, it's like a Swiss Army knife. These games can be played in any situation. And that's a theme that you're going to see throughout this, is most of these games, a lot of them, is that. You can play this in a restaurant. You're waiting for your food.
Right.
One time we played The Mind in line at a concert one time, standing there with people holding their hands out, and we were just holding the cards. Like,
I think I did that with a Love Letter one time, waiting in line for some flea market at a convention or something. We're like, all right, we can play Love Letter. It's like, you got to love a game like that, like this one that you could fit in your pocket and play it anywhere.
Red 7, great
choice.
All right, number 78. This one is a card-driven game that is all about building special abilities, playing special abilities. It's a simultaneous action selection game where everyone starts with pretty much exactly the same deck, even though that works different every game. And it is a theme about pirates, where it's very mean.
Libertalia? Yeah.
This is an older one. I think this came out in 2014, 2013.
Okay.
Right around there.
That sounds about right.
I don't think you were high on this one.
It's one that I'll play if the group wants to play it, but I don't ever crave a play of it. It's also one we played quite a bit when we first got it.
Yeah.
And I think I got the idea of it then. But it's been a long time for me, and I wonder if I were to play it again now, if I would like it more or less than I did.
Yeah, it's funny because the other night
solid game,
we had like a 12-hour game day here last weekend, and it was past the 12 hours actually. It was about 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning, And we're like, what are we going to play? And everyone's suggesting light things. And then one of the people goes, hey, can we play Libertalia? And I was like, yeah, let's play Libertalia. And in the end, we were like, it's too much thinking for this late at night. But we almost got to play it again.
Yeah. I think I was playing Mayabi. I was playing a Haba game. That's what I was doing after 13 hours of gaming.
Yeah. I really like this one because, again, the whole idea of like everyone starts with the same deck.
Yeah.
And then over the 3 rounds, you slightly start getting different decks.
Yeah.
And just the fact, I like simultaneous action selection. It's mean.
Yep.
Right? You're playing cards, you're trying to outdo people, and then you're trying to kill their people, you're trying to screw them and make them take the bad negative jewels.
And there's an element of like predicting what you think, who
Other
will play
people.
what when,
yes.
right?
Who played something?
Yeah,
Who still has this card out? Who could still possibly play this? There's a little bit of that going on.
I do appreciate games that do that, where you have to get in the mind of your opponents and try to kind of deduce what you think they're going to do and then plan accordingly. But then they know that you're thinking that, and they might change because of that.
The bluffing, double bluffing.
Yeah.
This game is full of that, which I like. I also like that they have some of the abilities trigger at different parts of the round, which is kind of cool. Some of them trigger right away.
Oh,
some of them
that's
trigger
right.
in order from highest to lowest. Some of them trigger at the end of every round, and some trigger at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And that gives you different reasons to play certain things.
Right.
I don't know. I think this is fresh. And I kind of hinted towards this in my previous video about this last week. I think, nothing official, this is just a hunch. It feels like and sounds like this might be getting a reprint next year from a very well-known publisher that I'm not going to mention.
I would imagine,
That's all I'm going to say.
I would imagine at this point it's hard to get a copy of this.
You can't. Well, it's secondary market, probably really expensive.
Yeah.
But I think in 2022, I'm going to predict this is being reprinted from a very well-known publisher.
Not to put you on the spot, but who's the designer? I don't remember.
This is Paulo Mori.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, there you go. Libertalia. All right. Number 77 is, it's a game that's come out. It's a party game. It's relatively new. It came out the last 2 or 3 years. And it's based upon a really popular party game from back in the 80s. And that party game from the 80s was Taboo. And so this is one, and Taboo, the old-fashioned Taboo, there's a word you're trying to get your teams to guess, but there's 5 words that you can't say.
Trap words?
Yes.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's
CGE,
good.
right?
Yes, Chex Game Edition trap words. Now, there's actually a couple other games that kind of do the same thing. I think it's like banned words or something like that.
That's one I've been hearing good. Is it banned words? There's one similar to this that I've heard good things about. But the coming up with the words in this and that's what makes this whole game, is that moment.
Yes, the team.
When you as a team were able to figure out what the opponent, the opposing team was going to say, and you caught them.
Yeah.
And once again, it's that deducing what you think other people are going to do, putting your mind in their headspace, and then planning accordingly, and then them knowing you're in the process of doing that and trying to double bluff you. That really makes this game.
Yeah.
The theme is here or there. It doesn't matter. The whole dungeon crawl thing is fine, but it doesn't add or detract to it. The game is that moment.
Yeah.
When you write that word down ahead of time and you catch them.
Yes.
To me.
And there's those curses where the team that's ahead gets a thing.
That's a smart catch-up mechanic. There's a lot of elements that are smart.
As fun as coming up with a trap word that catches them.
Yeah.
And actually, you're right. Like, the teams tend to you talk about it a lot. So the teams tend to run in the other room, and you're in separate rooms.
Or you're whispering.
You're trying to figure it out. And just as fun as doing that is when someone cleverly walks around your trap words. Like, I remember one time we were playing with Alex, and the word was snow, right?
Oh, I was thinking of a different one. Go ahead.
And so we wrote white, we wrote fall, we wrote wet.
Yeah.
And he came out and he goes, this is something that descends, that's the opposite of black, and we're like, you've got, and he tiptoed around these words so cleverly.
I think he did one with money too, where he was like a currency or something.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, and when even when you're on the losing team of that, and you just stand up and you applaud because you're like, that was clever.
Well done.
How did he's stepping through traps that he doesn't know what's there?
It's like landmines you've laid out for him, and he's doing like
and
a little
you're
dance.
like sitting there with popcorn. You're like, oh, I'm gonna watch you blow
for the team to blow up, and then he's just like, no, that's fine.
Tiptoes around it. This game's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good. This is one I wish would get out more. You have to have the right group and the right size group, and people who want to play a word game and all that. So it doesn't get to the table as much as I'd like for whatever reason. Yeah. But I love it when it.
I've got a ton of word party games on this list, by the way.
Oh, interesting. A hint, a teaser.
A teaser.
Things to come.
Number 77, trap words. All All right, number 76. This is one of the most popular sort of gateway-style auction games, and it's about real estate.
For sale.
Yeah, this one's too easy for you.
I mean, you say gateway auction, I know instantly.
Yeah.
It's great. Buy low, sell high.
You like this one?
Yeah, for sale is awesome. My copy of For Sale, the cards are all creased and bent and trashed from just playing it and playing it and playing it over the years. It's such a great, and everything about it is good. The art is good. The auction is good. The 2 rounds are good. I mean, the fact that the whole first half of the game is just developing your hand of cards for the second half, but yet it's not boring at all. It's super fun. The auction, once again, trying to predict what other people are going to go for, how much they're willing to spend, is awesome. Yeah, For Sale is a classic for a reason.
Yeah, and I had mentioned on the last week that my brother is like the pickiest person ever when it comes to games. He only likes really old classics. Anything we play that says, oh, this is kind of like this, he's like, well, I'll just play the classic version. He's like almost a contrarian just to be a contrarian. But in the same time, he still actually thinks it. Like, he likes Ticket to Ride, he likes other things, but that's about it. Anytime I try to introduce him to a new game, almost 99.9% of the time, he's going to hate it. We played this with him, and he loved it.
At one of the game days you hosted, I got to play this with him, actually.
Yeah.
And he did great.
Yeah, he loved it.
Yeah.
And in fact, Eagle Griffin Games was here playing with them.
Yeah.
And ended up sending him a copy, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was very cool of them.
Yeah. So yeah, he loves this game. And there's also a new version that came out this year called Autorama, which is like a car version. And they came out with an expansion for this called Advisors, which is kind of cool.
And the art in the Autorama one's really cool.
Yeah.
There's some homages to like classic cars and pop culture and stuff.
Yeah, and
really
actually
fun.
there's a promo card of that, of the Game Boy Geek Mobile. Yeah.
No, this is a good one. Of the sort of Eagle Griffin, that size box that was like a series for a while, this is the one I played the most.
And this is the one that really put Stephen Dorr on the map, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is the one we've played the most. And then I think Ink and Gold would probably be the next most. We'll see if that one makes an appearance.
Yeah, we'll have to see. All right, number 76, For Sale.
Good choice.
Number 75, gosh, there's a lot of clues I give this one.
You should try to come up with the least amount of words you can say to get me to guess this. I don't know what it is. Just like 2 or 3 words.
Uno.
Plus, no way, we did that one already.
And not a game.
Uno and not a game? Okay, sorry, you stumped me.
Oh, you meant a good clue.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, jeez,
When you said Uno, I just thought of Push.
Yeah,
because they have that same look.
Spiel des Jahres winner, very recent party game.
Just one?
Yeah.
Hey, I hit it pretty good. Uno, I get it. Uno.
See, that wasn't so bad of a clue, right? It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Okay, this one, it's funny that this one and Point Salad are on the same list.
Because you just talked about it.
I think they came out around the same time. I think that's part of why I kind of grouped them, because they came out around the same time. They're both kind of intro games that you could play with anybody. But of the two, and I'm glad to see this one ranked higher, because I think it's deservedly so. This one, to me, is like an instant classic. Like, as soon as you played it, you're like, why was this not designed 30 years ago? Why has everyone been playing this for decades? I don't know if Codenames will come up later. That's another one that I felt the same way when I played it. It was like, how is this new? There should be something. I feel like I'm playing something that should have been around forever, because it's like it was missing. There was a hole in the gaming sphere, and this game came in and said, hey, this has to be here. And Just One is that way for me. I played this one with so many people.
Yeah.
I've played it with my little kids. I've played it with gamers and non-gamers and old, young, you name it. And everybody likes it. Part of what's good about it, too, is for a word game, it puts you on the spot a little bit when it's your turn, but not as much as a lot of word games, too.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. This one, this is one of those ones that when you play it, you go, why didn't I think of that? Yeah. And I love it when something takes a concept this simple. One little twist makes the game.
Oh, best introduction to cooperative gaming, too.
That's true, too.
If you're looking to teach people the idea of cooperative gaming, don't pull out Pandemic, pull out Just One.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to understand. And it'll introduce people to that idea, and then you can roll into, Forbidden Island or Pandemic or whatever else you want to play with them.
Yeah.
The Mind.
Yeah, when this first came out, I think I was one of the first people to review it at the end of end of that year.
Yeah.
And I went to Bezier Games' little convention they throw once a year.
Oh,
and I brought it there with like hardcore gamers. And I'm like, you guys got to play this. And I showed them the box. They're like, We don't want to play that. Like, no. You guys, trust me, this is a special party game. And we took it out, and they played it all weekend long. And I'm like, that's when you know, when you can turn gamers into like liking something that looks so mass and is so mass marketing.
Yeah.
That's a winner.
And it's so hard to get a perfect score.
Yeah.
I like that about it. We've mentioned
it's really hard.
You know.
Yeah, in the scoring, you get it. That's a push of luck.
Right.
Like if you guess and you guess wrong, you lose 2 points.
Yeah.
If you pass, you only lose 1 point.
Right.
That's brilliant. Another 2 little twists that just make that game.
Yeah.
We just had, again, we were just talking about the 11-hour game night we had last week. And I had plenty of people that had come over that had never been here before. They never really played games.
Yeah.
They were just friends of mine, and we brought them over. And this was the first game we played. They instantly bought it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, like on the spot.
Yeah.
And you know that's special.
Yeah, no, this is a great game. I think we're going to be playing this. There's a lot of these games that we're going to forget about.
Yeah.
No matter how good they are, no matter how much you love them, they're going to be forgotten about by the hobby, but just one's going to be played 10, 15, 20 years from now, no question.
And we talked about trap words, like cleverly stepping through the thing.
Yeah.
And probably one of the best things and eruptions that happen here is because you're trying to come up with something so clever that's out of the box but still makes sense. Once in a while, if you think you get this group think of everyone's thinking on the box and someone says the most obvious clue and nobody else steps on them.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes, I thought you were going to say it, but I said it, the type of thing.
And it's funny when everyone's trying to avoid the obvious clue, so the best clue isn't given.
Right.
And the person, so it's, macaroni and no one writes cheese.
Right.
Because everyone's like, well, everyone's going to write cheese.
Or no one writes pasta.
Yeah, I love it. It's so light. It's so easy to explain. It's a great introduction to cooperative gaming for anybody, but yet everyone loves it. It has big stand-up, laugh out loud moments. I'll be playing this for the rest of my life for sure.
Just one special. Yeah. Number 75. Number 74 is a game that was also nominated for the Spiel des Jahres. Gosh, what year? Ooh,
the last few years.
I want to say 2012, and I think it lost to Kingdom Builder, if I remember right.
Oh, Kingdom Builder.
This is probably the best introduction to area control.
King of Tokyo?
And it has dice, which also King of Tokyo has, but it's not it. Oh. King of Tokyo was not nominated for Spiel des Jahres.
No, I don't think it was, but I was trying to think of it, that era and area control.
Yeah, so this is the best with area control, and the coolest thing is if you tie, you both cancel each other out.
If you tie, you both
Rudiger Dorn is the designer.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yes, we stumped him.
I feel like if I was watching this, I'd be like, come on, Greg.
This is huge this is all about the dice rolling and placing area
Las
control.
Vegas?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think of that as area control.
Really?
Well, I guess it is, sort of.
You just fight, whoever has the most wins the money.
Yeah, but area control, you think, I shouldn't make this
area
association.
Majority, I guess.
Yeah, I automatically think of area control as like,
but
figures
if I
want to
teach someone the basic building blocks of an area control game, this is the best, lightest one out there.
Yeah, I think most people, area control is, I don't know. I would think most gamers, put it in the comments, tell me what you think. I would think most gamers would say area control doesn't exactly fit with the spirit of what area control typically is when you think of Las Vegas, but this just says Vegas.
Yes, I couldn't find the right box for some reason. By the way, this is an older box. The newer ones look different.
Well, they have the cube now.
Well, no.
They have another one since then, I think.
Since the cube, they have a new one, which is they've ruined the game. Unfortunately, they ruined the way it looks, and they ruined the way it plays.
Did they change the rules?
They changed a lot of the rules. They added They tried to add a bunch of stuff that came in the expansions. They broke the game. I just want them to go back to the plain old thing and add the original expansion.
Now the dice version, though, that one was okay.
That one was
right?
fine,
and it was a cool packaging because it was a perfect square.
Yeah, but you can't get that one anymore.
That one's gone too already. Yeah, I have this oldest
the newest
version
one
as well.
I strongly dislike.
Really?
Actually, they broke it.
Can you play the old way with the new version?
You can, but it still doesn't look as nice.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to check it out. I haven't seen the new version.
Unfortunately, this is a great game, but the only one you can get now doesn't look nearly as nice. And
I've got this old version too, and I'm starting to accept the fact that I'm an old man that has the old version of all the games.
Yeah, but in this case, it's the best version.
People come to my house and they go, this is what Lost Cities used to look like, or
Settlers,
right. Or Kahuna, or
no, this one, that's
Las
the
Vegas.
version. In fact, I played this game with some friends recently, and it is now like their favorite game, and they went to go look for it, couldn't find it, and found the new version. They were like, this looks like crap. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So they're like, now they're looking for the old version. Do you have the expansion, by the way? It only came out in
No,
Europe.
I never
and
got
I
it.
imported it because it's that good.
It's cool. I played it with you, and I remember liking it because it adds like bigger dice that are stronger.
Bigger
and stuff.
dice, more bigger bills. It has a slot machine. It's so good.
It was cool. It was a cool addition to it. But this is one of those games where even after you play with the expansion, you don't have to always play with the expansion.
Right.
The base game is still plenty fun, plenty good.
Yep.
There's some games once you play the expansion, you're like, oh, I could never go back to the base game now.
That's me.
Well, not with every game, right?
I will at least use the big dice on every time because the big dice is worth 2 dice. That's
kinda
like
how
so
I-
easy.
It's kind of how I feel with Carcassonne. I want like
Same with the extra $100 bills. They don't know that there's not hundreds in the normal deck.
okay.
So I will always play with at least those 2 modules. It came on like 5 modules.
Yeah, this is another very streamlined, easy to teach, simple to understand kind of game. This is a very light 10 this week.
It is. It is.
Do you ever play anything heavy, Dan?
Go back and watch the previous 2 videos.
Yes. Now, Las Vegas is a good game.
All right, 74, Las Vegas. Speaking of light games, number 73. This is uber light. Could be a kid's game. In fact, kids usually beat adults in this game.
I have a thought. Is it coming in a yellow box?
Yeah, I think, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty yellowish.
Are you stacking?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, not a Haba game. I should have
Okay,
known. And I don't even want to tell you what kind of game it is because that would give it away. There's animals involved, cartoony looking animals.
Is it a dexterity or like a
No, this is one where
card game?
there are cards out there. You get to look at your own 3 animals at the beginning of the game, and you're trying to find either the animal or the color that's there.
I'm in a little brain fart here.
It is the only memory game I like.
Oh, is this Open Sesame?
No, that's the second one that I kind of like.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. You stumped me, I think.
Wow, really?
Animal, kids are good at it. Oh, okay. Memory game. Yes.
You have this?
I do. Oh, yeah. I played this a ton.
That's why I didn't want to tell you memory because I thought for sure you'd get it. But Open
Yeah.
Sesame is the only other one I own.
Open Sesame was the one when you said
I like,
memory.
and I like this even better than that.
This one gets played more,
Yeah.
at least at our house. We own both, but this one gets played more.
Yeah,
It's basically just the old memory game of flipping cards and matching.
Yeah.
But they've added a little bit of recall, just enough to make it interesting and not, oh my gosh, if you've ever played those. Like when your kids are really little and that's all they want to do and you're just like, okay.
You play memory?
Yeah, you've seen the fish, kid. And then they flip the fish in the next turn and you're like, come on, surely you remember where the fish was. You just saw it like 5 seconds ago, and then they flip an elephant, and you're like, come on! There's the fish is right there!
Yeah, I mean, the cool one about this is that every round, nothing changes. And so by the end of the game, it's ridiculous how much you'll actually remember because from seeing the patterns.
Well, I love the game like this that takes that sort of classic thing that everyone knows, but makes it fun for the adults as well. But kids can still play it. It almost reminds me of like a good kids movie versus like a mind-numbingly, I can't believe I'm watching this kids movie. Like a Pixar movie where you're like, okay, good. The kids can enjoy it, but so can I. That's what this does for like that basic memory game.
For sure.
Yeah.
But there's special abilities you can throw in for the advanced adult game, and that makes it even crazier.
So as the kids get older, the game ages with them. It's great.
Yeah, I love this one. Best memory game ever. Memoir. You're not going to debunk it. You like it.
I like it. I think it would be too. I don't think I'd put it on my list.
Again, memorable. This one's memorable.
It is.
And almost everyone I play this with buys it right afterwards. And I usually am playing this with adults.
Really? Okay. I don't usually. You know what? I haven't played it as much with just adults.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm hesitant to. That's part of why I'd be hesitant to put it on my top 100 because I sort of associate it as like, oh, this is the thing I play with the kids.
This is one of those moments where like someone's stuck and they're like, I really don't know, and they flip over and they get the right thing and the whole table erupts.
I do like the element of you can match the background or the animal too. There's a lot of smart wrinkles here for sure.
Yeah, because you can either like when you're trying to remember stuff, you can either focus on animals and have some of the colors in the back of your mind, or you could focus on colors, have some of the animals in the back of your mind. I don't know, it's just super clever.
We need like a Lacerda next or something. This list is too light.
A Lacerda. 73, Memoir. Number 72 is a game that off camera, Greg actually mentioned tonight.
Oh, shoot. Off camera.
Yes, as I was resetting in between takes, we were just having a little conversation a little while ago.
What did I say?
This is a game from one of the most prolific designers in the history of Earth. He's designed over 700 games.
Kinesia.
Yes, Mr. Kinesia.
Blue Lagoon.
Look at that, Blue Lagoon.
So Blue Lagoon is, you were talking about area control games. This is probably one of my go-to sort of gateway.
I bet you this is higher on your list.
Area control. I haven't finished putting it together yet, but Blue Lagoon's definitely gonna. Spoiler alert! It's gonna be my top 100. I played this one a ton. I played this with my daughter a few years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
she was only 5 maybe, but you
Yeah.
can play it with gamers as well. And the thing about it is, yeah, there's an area control element, but there's all these other ways to score as well. And mechanically, I mean, all you're doing on your turn is put a piece down. Make sure it's next to one of your other ones. I mean, you're
That's
teaching
it.
the game. It's just like so dirt simple. But the strategy of, I've got so many pieces, and I got to figure out how to time them out. I got to weigh in my head the objectives. Is it more
Yeah.
important to link the islands?
Yeah.
Is it more important to fight for area control here? Is it more important to pick up the little, set collection pieces? He's built all this, all this stuff into one game. It's this point salad area control that you can teach in 2 minutes. That takes 20, 30 minutes to play, but you're sitting there always processing and thinking, what should I do? And then you're setting yourself up in the first half for the second half.
That's my favorite part about this
I
game. is
love that
the
part
game
of it.
exactly the same, except it's not.
It's like a video game. Let me teach you how to play it.
Yep.
And now we'll play like where it really matters. Like
Yeah.
the points are all ratcheted up. Now we're going to really go. And so you can kind of learn the basics in that first half and then run with it.
Yep.
Blue Lagoon is amazing.
Now, I once asked you, how's the game play with 2? And you're like, it's excellent with 2. I played
Love
it
it with
once
2.
with, maybe once or twice with 2, and I didn't find it nearly as good as at least with 3.
Well,
That
it's weird because they scale the amount of pieces you have.
Sure.
So it's a fairly similar experience.
But it's not as it's not as
You're a little less in each other's face.
the decisions are more obvious.
Yeah, that might be true. But I feel like it's also part of what's better about playing with 2 is you get more pieces.
Yeah.
So you feel like you can do more, you feel more like you've accomplished more, and you're still in each other's way.
Yeah.
You're still trying to block each other. All that stuff still exists.
Yeah.
And by the way, you never have to make a choice. You don't have to worry about who am I king making or who am I not. It's like I have one opponent. I know exactly who to block.
Yeah.
If I have the chance to block, that's all there is.
Kenitsa is known for taking a design, tweaking it a tiny bit, and making a whole new game out of it. Like this one, you could see the roots in Samurai. You could see the roots in
through the desert,
Aristocracy, through the desert. From all of those, Babylonia.
Yeah.
So through all of those, is this your favorite of all of sort of
I
those
need
ones?
to play Samurai more. It's been a few years, and at the time, and I've probably only played it 5 times or maybe 10 at most.
Yeah.
But of all those, I think I like this one the best. I think purists will like Through the Desert more. But I feel like there's less to think about in Through the Desert because, I don't know, you're kind of working on less things at once. I like that about this one. There's a lot of things to consider simultaneously.
Yeah.
Even though it's still, like I said, I could teach it to you in like 2 minutes.
I've never played Through the Desert.
Really?
It's right behind there, though.
You should play
I've got
it.
a copy.
All right, turn the cameras off. Let's just play Through the Desert real quick. I got Through the Desert at like a thrift store one time.
I think because it was out of print for so long.
Yeah.
I had the new version that kind of came back in print and then went out of print again.
Yeah.
And as I started, and probably I got it around the time that I got Blue Lagoon,
Yeah.
and you had mentioned how good this was.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well,
I didn't teach you this one, did I?
No, I
you
taught
taught
you.
this one to me. Yeah.
I think you bought it right after.
Oh, absolutely. I love this one. And I've played it a lot since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's great. I think it's kind of underrated too.
I think so too.
Because people do think, oh, it's just a new version of the thing he's done before. But I think he gets better. I mean, he's a good designer. And so he's probably always, even when he's working on 10 other games, in the back of his head, he's probably going, how could I tweak that other game and make it, And I think Blue Lagoon is the product of that, of him always probably tinkering with old designs and doing something new with it. And you gotta listen to the Moana soundtrack when you play. Because it just feels like that's, you're settling on the islands and everything. It's great.
Number 72, Blue Lagoon. All right, this is the last one for this list, right? Number 71. This one is one of the most clever, streamlined economic games in the history of Earth with a crazy fun twist.
Oh, wow. Clever, streamlined economic game. You mentioned Acquire already.
Yes. Maybe I'm giving you a little curveball when I say economic game.
There's an economic game I know you love, but if it's not in your top 10 or at least 20, I'll be shocked. There's no way it's 71.
This one is you've got dry erase boards and markers.
Huh.
And the twist is what makes this game. And it has to do about how much are people bidding that round?
Oh, QE! Oh my gosh, I just played this like 2 days ago.
I was going to tell you just played it, but because I watched you guys playing it over there.
Okay,
This is an economic game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because this is all about, I need to figure out, in this group, what the market value for a point is.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Quantitative easing is QE,
Yeah.
by the way.
You're each playing a country, and look, quantitative easing, you're all playing a country, you're figuring out money markets, whatever. People are going to think, oh my gosh, what is this crazy crunchy? No, it's so light. It's so simple.
The little brother to Ponzi scheme, which, interestingly enough, I still love, but I haven't played it in so long, and I asked you the other day, I'm like, have you played Ponzi scheme in a while? And you're like, yeah, but you know what? It didn't go over quite as well. And this one's so much more streamlined, I probably won't play Ponzi scheme anymore.
Yeah, well, I feel like I won't play it as much because if you want to scratch, because they have the same, to me, the same core, which is coming up with market value for points in that group.
Right.
And I think this one is more open, which I like.
Yeah.
And more streamlined and simple to teach and simple to understand.
It's over in 30 minutes.
Yeah, whereas Ponzi scheme, it takes you 15 minutes just to teach it.
Unless you're playing with Travis or
no, Troy, our friend Troy.
Unless you play with Troy, and then it ends in 10 minutes because
he's gonna watch this
because he overbids too much. Anyway,
yeah, in QE you can bust and it's all over very quick. I mean, in Ponzi scheme you can bust and it's all over very quickly. This is always going to be about the same length. Although you could very stupidly spend a ton of money early on and mess yourself over. The thing that I always want to do, and you've already mentioned how this plays probably in your other videos, so I don't have to go into too much detail, but the thing I always want to do is when someone is that first person to really ratchet up the bid and spend a lot of money.
Usually me.
I always want to talk the group into like, guys, we can choose to eliminate this person right now. If we all just decide from now on to go less.
You tried that last game. It didn't work.
Because
I was the one that went heavy.
I try that almost every game, and I'm thinking, you can ensure that the rest of us are in the running, and that person's out, and people don't go for it.
No.
They don't go for it. I'm like, guys, we can all just choose.
I didn't even end up being the one that got eliminated. We got Warren eliminated, and I almost won still, but I didn't.
Oh yeah, that game of it, yeah. And I tried to do that last time we played too. I was playing. Actually, you mentioned Charlie in one of your recent videos, who designed Pops and the trekking games and stuff. I tried to do that with him, and we went through the whole game. He spent the least amount of money. I thought he had spent a ton early on, and I was like, all right, guys, we can knock him out. I did my whole spiel and tried to get everyone to do it. And then when we checked the numbers, he got the least amount spent bonus. I couldn't believe
like 6 points.
Speaking
Speaking of Charlie Bank, we talked about Pups in a recent video. We talked about he has to reprint it. We saw him last weekend, and it sounds like he is going to be reprinting it.
Oh, I didn't. I must have been playing something at another table. I didn't hear that.
So that's a callback to one of our previous videos. So number 71, QE.
This is a great game.
All right, well, there you have it. Number 80 through 71. You didn't debunk anything this time. Maybe memoir. Well, kind of.
I think my debunking, to use your term, is that everything's just so light this time.
Yeah, true.
What's going on, man?
I'm surprised that you're surprised.
Well, I know you like light stuff, but I feel like when you're coming up with the top 100, there's an impulse to kind of like go, well, these are my all-time favorites. So I can't just put a bunch of fillers on here. I got to put some stuff with some real meat on the bone, some substance.
That's why there was some in the last two videos.
Yes, there were. And I'll be curious to see if there's some
And you know why? It's because lighter, quicker stuff get played more often.
Yeah.
And so things that get played more often, they imprint a stronger thing in your memory.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those other games that the heavier ones that we said last time, Pelsar 2049, Manhattan Project, Between Two Castles, I think like
yeah.
Those ones, I know that I love them.
Right.
But I haven't played them nearly as many as a lot of these games because they're just longer, harder to get to the table.
Well,
right?
I think when a filler or a light game also impresses you, even though you played it 30, 40, 50, 60, 90 times, you go, okay, this has got to be a favorite. I don't think I could play, Power Grid 90 times in a year. I'd probably be like, enough of this already. You know, so there's something impressive about a light, simple game that you could play that many times and you still haven't burned out on it. Yeah,
and the coming videos are going to be probably more like this than they were from the first two, I would say. They're going to be sort of that...
I feel like it's your heaviest things are going to be at the beginning and the end. And we're going to have a lot of lighter things in the middle here.
Probably pretty accurate.
Because there's a few little bit heavier ones that I'm thinking of that have got to be near in the top 20, 30, 40. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't mind heavy games. I don't even mind long games. I mean,
well, you just...
Seventh Continent I sat down in multiple sessions and played for 8 hours with getting up like once to use the restroom. Like, I'll play a long game. It just has to be amazingly
And we talked
engaging.
about that in one of the old videos too, that they have to be, I think the way you said it was every 15 minutes they have to be like exponentially better.
Every 15 minutes
That
over
they
an
add.
hour.
Right,
like,
right.
If it's more than an hour, it
Yeah.
better be exponentially better for every 15
For every
minutes.
15 minutes extra you're playing. And I get that, because when there are so many good games, like Blue Lagoon, for instance, where you can fit in point salad and area control and majority bonuses and all these things into like a 20, 30-minute package, you're like, why am I going to play some game that takes 3-4 hours when I can play
You've
Blue
said that
Lagoon
a lot.
twice and this other game 3 times?
You're in that realm too. You'd much rather
Yeah.
play 3 one-hour games than 1 3-hour games, even if it's an epic game.
At least for me, I think what's done that is I've had little kids for the last 10 years of my life. And so time is more and more precious, because especially when they're really little, they interrupt a lot, they need to be fed, they need this, they need that. And so you go, hey, I want something that packs a lot of choice and decisions and thoughts into 20, 30, 40 minutes, because I don't have the 3 hours I used to have to play Dominant Species or something.
But even if you had that 3 hours, and even how much I know you love like Tammany Hall, for example, I think you would probably still, as much as you love that, still rather play 2 or 3 1 hour, 45 minute to 1 hour games than that.
I think 9 times out of 10, you're right.
And I think I would too.
Yeah.
Now, when we did get a chance to play Tammany Hall like a few weeks ago, it lived up to what we thought. Right? We loved it. But I think both of us
alert,
still.
that's going to be farther up.
But maybe. But
if it doesn't, if it's not on there, you made a mistake.
but with that being said, I also would, more often than not, would rather play 3 1 hour games and get 3 different experiences.
Every once in a while, you crave, like for me, I'll use me as an example. I'll crave that Battlestar Galactica 3-4 hour game night, or like a Power Grid or something like that. But I find more and more that my version of a long game is an hour and a half or 2, not 3 or 4 like it used to be. My wife and I used to sit and play Empire Builder and Dominant Species, and these games that take 3-4 hours, even with just 2 players.
Yeah.
And I think that I've sort of been deprogrammed from that, from having kids and just time being tighter and adulting or whatever, and just I'd rather pack something in that takes 30, 40 minutes that still burns my brain enough. But anyway, so I'll be curious to see though, if I'm right. I think that we'll see a lot of lighter things in the middle here.
You will.
And then near the end, things we'll have a handful that are a little bit heavier again.
Yeah, probably. So there's 80 through 71. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, because in a few days, I'm gonna be coming out with the next series, which is 70 to 61, and I'll be doing my solo where I show you how the games work and talk about those. So it's been a Game Boy Geek.
Greg Dixon, thanks again for watching, everybody. Ring the bell.
We'll see you next time. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing thematic premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, it's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.